So I saw this quote that I really liked this week. Changing habits, mindsets, and behaviors is intentional. Intentional, like you might have to put it on the calendar. So I just want to say right from the jump that is the point of planning. It is to create days, weeks, and years that align with your values, that bring your soul to life, and making intentional choices about how to spend your time. Because if we're just on autopilot, I think our choices don't always align with our values. They just are in alignment with, something shiny. And so that's what this is about. And so if you ever get done with planning and you feel, well, this is going to be a lot of work, this is going to be a lot of chores, then you're doing it wrong. Because the point of planning is to get things in alignment with your values. And when you get a schedule and like a week that is so fun and filled with joy, that is in alignment with your values, you go into that week and you're thinking, I cannot wait to live this week. This week is going to be so amazing. So you'll know you're doing planning right when it has sufficiently changed your life choices and you have your days look different and you are excited to go into that week. So by the end of this video, you're going to feel excited because it's going to be in alignment with your values and your soul is going to be coming to life. Also, I haven't been on Instagram in years, so I'm finally coming back. Alexis M. Kingsley, if you want to follow me, please go follow me, say hello. Also, the Potential Planner is 25% off, which the vast majority of this presentation came from that. So if you want to download the PDF, you want to download the iPad version right now, you can do it along with us. Get the planner, it's on sale right now. So I also have Calendly sessions if you want to do a session with me. That'll all be linked in the description. Like always, before we get started, I recommend you grab a beverage and some vibes. You want to tea, coffee, wine, go sit at a park, put some lights on. I highly recommend that. Get a beverage and vibes. And also, you will need a notebook and your calendar. So if you have the Potential Planner, it's all wrapped up in one. Otherwise, grab your calendar, grab a notebook, and let's dive in. So before we get into planning an amazing month, I want to review last month. So the question is, what amazing things happened that I'm proud of myself for? So I want you to list maybe like between 3 and 10 things that you're legitimately proud of yourself for. I tried a new dance class. I was feeling really depressed and I got out of bed and I'm really proud of myself for that. I didn't feel like showering and I got up and showered. Whatever it is, I want you to write these things down because the things that we were proud of ourselves for last month indicate what we should be doing more of this month. Okay, the next question is actually a prompt that was in the intentional planner. I think I'm going to bring it back whenever I do the next iteration of the planner. But I have this quadrant grid. At the top, it says intentional and unintentional. So I want us to analyze 2 areas of our life and how we've been intentional and unintentional. So the first realm of our life on the left half of this grid is the realm of ourself. When we are alone in our thoughts, in our feelings, spending time with ourselves. When we have time with ourselves, are we feeling lonely? Detached from life, social media addiction, words like that? Are we feeling kind of unintentional, going through the motions? Or when we have time with ourselves, are we feeling reflective, introspection? Maybe we're doing solo dates. We're getting to know ourselves. We're learning what we like. So I want you to kind of like give yourself a score. I've got an arrow right here, like if you were feeling like a little bit below the 50. So I want you to just, draw this grid and just draw a line wherever you feel like. Are you 50? Dead on? What do you think? And the next area of our life I want to look at is with the world. So when we're engaging with the world, so that could be with people, that could be with our job, with our craft, when we're creating, but we're turning outward and focusing outward. When we're engaging with the world, do we feel scattered, overwhelmed? Do we feel too busy, alone in a room full of people? Or do we feel like we've got impact, we've got real community, meaningful work, and we're actively involved in our life? So again, I want you to just rate and give yourself a score. Sometimes, let me show you, sometimes what I like to do is color it in. So if I drew one arrow going this way, I might kind of color it in. If I drew one arrow going this way, coloring it in. So you end up with kind of this 4-quadrant grid, and it's just a good reminder to be intentional in multiple areas of life, to be well-rounded. So now that we reviewed, I want us to go forward. And what direction have I been feeling nudged in? A lot of times I feel like there's like these nudges. It's like a fleeting thought where you think, I should try this dance class. And you don't really think anything of it. A couple weeks go by and then you're thinking, oh yeah, I should try a dance class. I've been kind of like thinking about that. And you don't really think anything of it. But I want us to call those forward and to really look at what have I been nudged toward and like really consciously thinking about it and thinking about, do I want to do that? Like for me, sometimes it's like, I've been meaning to buy a projector. I've been wanting to do projector videos. And that was kind of a nudge that was just going on for a long time and not doing it. But I want us to be a lot more intentional with what are these nudges and like, let's go that direction. And I shared a quote in the quarterly planning video that when we look at our habits, we want them to be reflective of our courage and inventive reason. And this question is all about having the courage to go after those nudges. Like I'm nervous to go dancing. I'm nervous to try a new language. I'm nervous to move to a new place. But I think I want to explore it. Like I don't have to commit to it, but I just want to go down that path until it stops working out, and then I'll do a different path. But I'll never know until I try. And so this question really represents the courage. And this next question represents the inventive reason. So it's what would make this month amazing? And I have an idea of like a seasonal bucket list, but when I got to the end of this month, when I get to the end of April, what do I want to say that I did? Like, how can I think inventively and creatively? Ideation, what would be so fun? Like, do I want to try a new recipe? Do I want to go dancing? Is there a holiday I want to celebrate, or a birthday that could be more fun, or a party that I want to host, or just what will it take to think that I really lived this month intentionally, inventively and creatively, not just going through the motions, going to work, doing the chores, but actually like being inventive. So I want you to think of, I don't know, between 5 and 10 things that you weren't thinking of doing that now because of planning you're thinking of doing. So now this is where we are going to pursue that courage even a little bit more. So in quarterly planning, we talked about our big goal. Do you want to write a book? Like, this is the passion project. This is going to take a while. Do you want to make an album, write a book, start a YouTube channel? Like, it's a big project that you want to undertake. So at the quarterly level, we made some goals. So in this example, by the end of April, having a product outlined, by the end of May, rough drafting it, and in June, releasing it. So this is an example. So I want us to just review, what did we set out for ourselves? And now we're going to chunk that a little bit more specifically. So in the case of this example, having a product outlined by the end of April, let's go ahead and chunk that. So I'm splitting April. So we're going to plan our week results, and I've split April into 4 weekly outcomes. In the case of April actually does have 5 weeks this year. So you can split up into 5 outcomes, but some only have 4. So I just put 4 so that this video is more universal. But so if the goal is to have the product outlined, we are going to create 4 benchmarks so that we know that we are on track. With small goals, this is not necessary. It's like, I want to drink more water. Okay, I'm going to go drink more water. But if you have the goal to climb Mount Everest, you need to make a plan before you get on the mountain. You need to know, this is going to take me weeks to do this. I need to be at this camp by this time. I need to be at this camp at this time. And if I'm not there, I got to turn around. You need to know when you're on schedule or not, because otherwise you'll get lost in the weeds in the motivation. You need to know exactly what you're doing. So in the case of this, maybe if I want to have it outlined by the end of the month, maybe the first week I can brain dump the ideas. Maybe week 2, I can really hone those and figure out which ones do I actually like, get a lot more specific, kind of edit it out, the brain dump, outline half of it, and then outline the full thing by the next week. So now that we have our intentions, we've set forth, this is what I want. This is what I want my month to look like. Now we're going to make it a little bit more practical and a little bit more tangible. And each level of planning, quarterly planning, monthly planning, weekly planning, they each have their own emphasis. And at monthly planning, the emphasis is on task management and productivity. So I love this getting things done quote. You should use your mind to think about things, not of things, which just basically means you don't want your mind to be clogged up with tasks of, I need to go to the store and I need to do laundry and I need to go get my car checked and like all this stuff. Every second you're thinking about that stuff, you're not thinking about your amazing relationships. And this is how great my life is. And I got this creative idea for this project, and like thinking inventively and thinking creatively. And so we're going to create a space to empty your mind out of all the crap so that you can actually think about things that are important to you. So the purpose of the monthly spread, in my view, for planning is to be a messy dashboard so your mind can be clear. So what we're going to move forward and do in a second is we're going to create a monthly messy dashboard. This is what it could look like in a physical version. You just take that monthly spread and you brain dump anything you can think of onto it. So the way that I see it, you have 2 calendars. One is metaphorically written in pencil and the one is metaphorically written in Sharpie to the level of commitment that you're going to have. So for this monthly messy dashboard, I would metaphorically write it in pencil. The point of it is not for me to commit to every single thing that's on here. The point of it is to keep my mind clear and empty my mind. And then we keep the weekly spread blank until we actually get to that week. And the purpose of this is to metaphorically be written in Sharpie. We take a look at everything that we had on the monthly spread, and we're going to intentionally commit to the ones that we actually want to do. So if I had a digital calendar, I would do the same thing. I might have 2 calendars. If I had a Google Calendar, I might call one the pencil calendar and one the Sharpie calendar. The first one is just brain dump. You put everything on repeat. I want to work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have work at this time. I want to do laundry at this time. And you just fill that thing up, that messy calendar up. And then you have a second calendar that I might call Sharpie, which is everything on this calendar I'm going to do. So each week I'm going to intentionally pick the selective ones. If I am not going to work out on Wednesday, I'm not going to write it down. And if I am going to work out on Wednesday, I'm writing it down because it is metaphorically written in Sharpie. So the purpose of the monthly spread is to be a messy dashboard so your mind can be clear. The weekly spread has a different purpose. But so what I want to do is get into just a brain dump, clearing out our mind, completely emptying it out. Now, as we do this, there are a couple best practices before we get into actually filling up this monthly messy dashboard. But when we write things down, the best practice is to not write down a bunch of nouns, but to write down a bunch of verbs. So a lot of people, when they write events down, they say, essay due, so-and-so's birthday, Zoom call. And it's just all these nouns and it's all these events. But these events typically are a project that add up to be a series of tasks. They add up to be a series of verbs. Even something as simple as someone's birthday, maybe you need to buy a card, you need to put it in the mail. Things are a series of verbs. The essay due, you got to chunk that down into a bunch of different tasks. So I have a system for you. It's called the START system, which I'll mention right now. And it's just a best practice of putting things on the calendar. Because when we think of the calendar for events and a to-do list for tasks, and people have other systems too, like what if you have ideas, where do you put those? You just have to start checking so many different places. Okay, I got to check this for this, and the to-do list is here, and the events are here, and we need it all in one place so that your mind doesn't think, did I check everywhere? Did I check everywhere? Did I check everywhere? So we need to have just one spot. So I've merged a to-do list and a calendar where tasks and to-do items go on the calendar, because time is reality. So if your to-do list doesn't get assigned to time, it's going to be very rare that you're getting things in behind on time, or you're like feeling rushed, because you just got to plan it out just more intentionally. So this is the START system that I'll go over just briefly. I have a video on this. But when you're writing something on the calendar, like on the monthly messy dashboard, these are the best practices. Think in your head, specify, okay, what is the thing I'm putting on the calendar? Okay, an essay is due. That's the noun. That's what's going to happen. What are all the tasks associated with that? Okay, maybe I want to brain dump, I want to outline, I want to rough draft, and I want to final edit this essay. Then you need to assess how long are each of those tasks going to take. Maybe I want to allot 30 minutes or an hour, whatever you think, to each of those tasks. Then I'm going to rewind. This is a quote that I heard: leaders vision forward, but they plan backward, which I think is just a great quote in general for planning. So if I got an essay due Friday, I'm going to plan backward. It means, okay, well, then I've got to have this done by Thursday, I got to have this done by Wednesday. So each of those sessions for writing the essay, I'll put on each of those days. And then T is assigned to time. So that means, okay, I guess I'll have to do the final editing by Thursday. Okay, I'm going to do that at 3 o'clock. I have some time. And so you put it as specific as you know, assign it to time, and that is what's going to go on the monthly messy dashboard. So we're going to use that system right now, and we are going to fill up your monthly spread. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way down this list and make sure that the priorities get added to time, because time is reality. So if things do not get assigned to time, they are probably not going to manifest themselves in reality. So first, what have you been feeling nudged towards? You feel nudged toward dancing? When are you going to go dancing? Okay, I'm going to Google places in my area right now. Take a pause, Google the areas. Where could I go dancing? Write that on the calendar. I'm going dancing this Friday or next Friday or the Friday after that. Basically, as specific as you know. If you know the day you want to do it, write it that day. If you know just the weekend you want to do it, but not which day in the weekend, write it at the beginning of the weekend. If you know the week you want to do it, but you don't know like which day within that week, just write it at the start of the week. So it's kind of like cooking. Like if they say 11 to 13 minutes, put 11 minutes so it doesn't get burnt. So similar concept here. If you know the week you want to do something, but not the specific day, just put it on Sunday. And when you get to Sunday, then you can reevaluate from there. Okay, now let's look at that bucket list. You wanted to try a new recipe. Maybe you wanted to host a party. What are all the verbs associated with those things that you want to do? Let's actually put them on the calendar. Maybe you don't know which day in the weekend, but you know which weekend you want to do it. Go ahead and put that on the calendar. Then we have our weekly results. So in this planner, there's a column on the left-hand side for all these weekly results. I would write those down there. And I might also think about, what do you need? From quarterly planning, we talked about what do we need? Maybe you need more relaxation. What are some verbs that would be associated with that, and add those to the calendar. And the final thing, I have this document. It's called the trigger list. It's from the book Getting Things Done. And it's just a list of things that are meant to trigger your mind. So you're kind of skimming through this list. You get to the section that says birthdays, and you think, oh, so-and-so's birthday is the 17th. So you write it down and any verbs associated with it. Or you get to the section about pets, and you're like, oh, my dog has a grooming appointment. So you write that down on the calendar and any verbs associated with it. So we're just doing a calendar dump here, dumping all the verbs associated with all these things. Something that's up to your discretion are routines that happen regularly. So for example, if I work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, one option is to write every Monday, Wednesday, Friday this month, you write workout. The other option is you save that till weekly planning, if it's something that's going to show up multiple times in 1 week. So I personally save it for weekly planning. I didn't used to do it that way. So that's routines that happen very frequently are up to your discretion. So what you should have now is a very full, beautiful month. And this is metaphorically written in pencil. So everything here, I actually don't write it in pencil. There's a lot of things like actually scratched out, but you metaphorically write it in pencil. So when we get to weekly planning, we have a beautiful blank slate which we can metaphorically write in Sharpie, and everything on here we are going to do. This is where you make the commitment to yourself. I got my mind clear in monthly planning. I got all this stuff. I set up, these are all the things I could potentially want to do. And now when I get to weekly planning, I'm going to actually make the decision and the intentional choice that this is how I want to spend my time. If this week working out is not on the cards because it's too busy this week, I'm not going to write it down, even though theoretically I work out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if I do write down that I'm working out Wednesday, when I get to that weekly plan, I am doing it. That is the one habit, is to show up to your calendar every day and commit to what is there. Anything on the weekly spread for me, it's like if it's on the weekly spread, it's getting done. And I just have that commitment and promise to myself that I've got the brain dump calendar, and then I also have the commitment calendar. Let me know if you want me to do another like fully formed video on weekly planning. It wasn't really part of my plan, but now that I've done this whole like mini series, I'm kind of thinking about doing it. So let me know how you plan. Let me know your preferred method of planning, unpopular planning opinions. Also, that's something that I just kind of thought of, and I'm like, I really actually want to know you're on any unpopular opinions related to productivity or planning. Are you a digital person or a physical person? Because I try to give options for both. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, Alexis M. Kingsley. Book a Calendly session. If you want, get the planner. It's 25% off. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.